Hey, welcome back, Project Smoke. This is the final installment. As you can see, we pretty much buttoned it up. The reason I spray painted this whole thing along throughout this whole project was to get every nook and cranny you can get, especially because I'm going with a two-tone. It makes it a lot easier. As you can see, I added wheels, a couple of counters in the bottom. I cut the wheels down. I mean the legs off on that side, and I decided to go on that back side and just add a little counter underneath the firebox where the wheels are. Mounted on the firebox and did some finishing touches. There's the handle. It says 3/8 rod, stock rod. I went 9 inches out from here to here, and I went 8 inches across there to there. Welded them on, and that's my handle for towing this thing around or pushing it. I used a 3/4 stock rod for this firebox, and I did it far away. I went 6 by 6. I cut them on 45, and I welded them on. I went a little bit far away. That way it takes a lot longer to heat up, so it won't burn my hand. I did a 1 counterbalance there, and there's my hinge. I went 1 solid piece of stock rod, and I bent it on 2 90s there, 90-degree angles. So you bend one end first, insert your piece of 1/2-inch black pipe, and then bend the other side. Because if you try to insert this after they're both bended on each side, you can't do it. So you make sure you bend one end, install your 1/2-inch pipe, then do the other end. Everything's just all repetitive, building the firebox as doing the smoke chamber. If you go through the first couple of videos, you pretty much can build a smoker no problem. Here's my damper. You can see it slides out. The same cutout that I used to build this. This is a 2x3 rectangle. I used the cutout. I just rounded it out, and I used it. Slides fairly easy. This is just a 1-inch angle, 1 by 1/8 angle, welded on top. Make sure you give yourself enough room in here for sliding. You never want to paint the inside of your smoke box, your smoke chamber, or your firebox. Only all the exterior. You don't want to paint the inside with toxins. This is just a handle. Again, I built it just wide enough as my hand, and you know, it's pretty far away, so I can grab it from here and I won't burn myself. There's the inside. Cut out a piece of expanded metal mesh. You want to make sure it's tight to each side. That way you don't lose charcoal or wood pieces or chips or whatever to each side there. I cut 2 pieces of 1-inch square tubing, and I welded them on each end. You want to have at least 2.5 to 3 inches from the bottom of your tubing to the bottom of the firebox for air to go through. If you wanted to build an ash dump on it, use the same deal, the same style as you do your damper there. I just went 1.5 inches long, and I did it flush with the tank, and I welded it all across. For my firebox, when I connected it, I used the same thing, 2-inch by 3-inch rectangle tubing. I went 3 inches inside the firebox and 2 inches inside the smoke chamber. I did a couple burns on it to get the toxins out. You want to burn your firebox for a few hours, and then you want to burn the inside of your smoke chamber for a few hours as well. Do a couple of them. Do as many as you like. I recommend you do at least 2. I do 3 usually. Then I season it. The way I season it is, I take a spray bottle, a couple of napkins. I go 2 parts oil and 1 part water. Any kind of oil you want. Spray it all along the outside of the smoke chamber and all along the outside of the firebox, and as well as the inside. Make sure you get it real nice and well. You could also use cooking spray. Here's a piece of that 3/4 stock I had. It's just a piece of scrap I had, and I just used it. That's what I used for the inside of the firebox. I cut it on 45s on each end, placed it, and welded it. There's that 2x3 rectangle that I used for the damper. You could also use, like I said, for an ash dump. Welded on 2 pieces of angle just like that on each side, and use the same cutout. There's the wheel here. The way you get your measurement for the wheel is You measure from any side of the wheel here, and you go to the center. It should be the same all around. This is a 2x3 inch nut here, bolt, 3/8 on the end. Put it through a couple of lock nut washers, regular washer, and a 3/8 nut. Put it through this way. Use my regular washer, my lock nut washer, and your lock washer. You could use a regular nut, or even better, if you have a lock nut washer, a lock nut, use your lock nut. That's the one with the plastic inside of there. It won't go nowhere. Place it on here. When you're gonna do this, you want to make sure you cut this back end back there, and start this side here. When you have your holes drilled, put your wheel through, tighten it up, then come back and cut this side here. That way you don't ruin your wheel at all. Do that to both sides, so you should get a clean cut. So there it is. There you have it. There you go. This is Project Smoke. You can see that nice filmy smoke color I got to it now. It'll be all even once you get enough burns on it. Don't worry if you don't get any a tight seal when you close your doors and you see that smoke seeping out and escaping. It'll, with time, as you're burning it, the metal will rest and expand. It'll form into one, so it's not a big deal. You can see I used a piece of 1/2-inch stock rod down there, and I just welded it onto that piece of metal that was already on this tank. That'll be for my mop bucket. Just put the mop bucket and mop on there, and I'll use that to base my meat as I'm cooking. There's my shelves. It's a number 9 expanded metal mesh by 3/4. Just cut it to size. Just remember, keep everything plumb and square as you're going. True craftsman do a good job, whether he wants to, needs to, or has to. So just keep that in mind when you're building your projects. I always build them as to if somebody's going to criticize them, you know, they won't have much to say. So there you have it. Hope you guys enjoy. Any questions, let me know. Hopefully you guys learned something. Anything I didn't go over, I forgot to, please comment, and I'll try to explain to you as best as I can. Next project I want to work on is this 40 gal tank right here, and as I'm doing that, I want to build it and shoot video as I'm building it for extra tips and different designs. That's how you could do it. There you go. 15-gallon smoke chamber, 5-gallon firebox, smoker ready for the backyard. It's just all creativity. Just get creative and build it to suit your needs, build it to your height. It's just custom building. Build it however you want. Get creative.